Hello, YouTubers, and welcome to the test. I wanted to put together a ship review for the Tier 4 German cruiser, the Karlsruhe. Now, instead of me butchering the name of this ship constantly throughout this video, I think I'm just going to call it the Karl if y'all don't mind. I'm going to do a little discussion in port talking about the characteristics of the ship, and then I'm going to show a little gameplay footage to go along with it. Now, one of the reasons why I picked out this ship is because when I looked at this thing, it looked like a complete junker to me. When you look at the survivability of this ship, it has the least amount of hit points versus the other Tier 4 cruisers. Now, that on its own is not enough to make me say, okay, well, this ship's not that good. But when I start going over everything else and the characteristics of this ship and how it compares to the other ships that are in the game, it's just like, man, why the heck would you play this thing? The area that scared me the most with regards to the ship was with the gun range. The gun range on this ship, fully upgraded, is only 11.7, whereas the Kuma is 12.4 and the Phoenix is 13.7. Then when you compare the gun range of Tier 5 ships, the Koenigsberg is 16.5, the Furutaka 13, and the Omaha 14.8. That means that if you're in a higher tier match, you're going to have to get really close to the enemy ships in order to even fire your guns. So let me get into the guns a little bit. For rate of fire, the Karl is about middle of the pack for a tier 4 ship. The Kuma comes in first place, and the worst ship for rate of fire is the tier 4 American Phoenix. The HE ammunition on this ship is absolutely pathetic. It only does 1800 damage, which, if you think about it, there are destroyer guns in the game that do significantly more than 1800 HE damage. On top of that, it only has a 10% chance to start a fire, so if you think about it, when you compare it to the other tier 4 ships, it's dead last for HE damage by a good margin, and it's last for chance to start a fire when you hit another enemy ship with an HE round. There are two redeeming qualities for this ship. One of them is significant, and one of them is really not that big of a deal. The only significant quality, in my opinion, for this ship comes from the AP damage. Now, this ship does the most AP damage out of any Tier 4 ship by a good margin. It does 3700 AP damage, which is a lot when you compare it to the Phoenix doing 3100 and the Kuma doing 2700. This ship was made to shoot AP, but sometimes for me it was tough to break myself from that mold, and when I see a battleship, I'm thinking, okay, I need to put some HE on this guy. I think moving forward, if I even decide to play this ship again, I'm going to be using more AP than what I've been doing in the past. I think that I was using a little bit too much HE. I knew it was bad, but the HE is pathetic for this ship. The Kuma and the Karl are tied for first place with regards to number of guns you can shoot while broadside. They both have 6. The Phoenix lags behind a little bit with 5 guns. What about turret rotation? Hey, what about dead last? This ship was dead last. The Phoenix came in first place, the Kuma came in second place, and the Karl had a whopping 25.7 second turret rotation at a tier 4 cruiser. That is bad, okay? The Karl is also the slowest tier 4 ship. It only goes 27.5 knots, whereas the Kuma doing 34.5 and the Phoenix doing 35 knots. That's a big discrepancy there. Let's look at rudder shift time. Hey, let's look at another last place ranking. The Kuma and the Phoenix are tied for 5.4. The Karl, 6.8. This thing cannot turn quickly. Now, when the rudder is fully turned, it will do the tightest circle out of any Tier 4 cruiser, 590 meters versus 640 for the Kuma and 630 for the Phoenix. So I put together a little comparison table for the Tier 4 cruisers and for the Tier 5 cruisers. Now, this doesn't include all the cruisers, just the ones for the German line, the Japanese line, and the American line that are in the tech tree. If a ship came in first place for its tier, I marked it green. If it came in second place for its tier, it was yellow. And guess what the color red was? Just look at the difference in the gun range between those 6 ships and what that means you have to do with this ship in order to even shoot your guns. So from looking at this table, in my opinion, the only way you're going to have a chance of having a good match in this ship is if you're top tier. Now, Tier 4 ships are very popular within the last 2 weeks of this game, so you have a slightly better chance than 1 out of 3 to get into a Tier 4 match, but still, that's not the best odds. So that's not to say that you need to just blow up your ship whenever you get into a Tier 5 or a Tier 6 match. What I'm trying to say is, if you get into a Tier 5 or if you get into a Tier 6, you're severely outgunned, and mainly you're severely outranged, and that means that in order for you to have a good match, you are really going to have to keep your head on a swivel and play out of your mind in this thing. Now, I purposefully left out torpedoes because they're situational, but this ship has middle of the road damage for torpedoes and middle of the road range for their torpedoes. But because you're not going to be shooting those things effectively in every single match, they were left out of this review. So for the purpose of this gameplay video, what I did is I wanted to run a test to see how much damage and fires I could do with only spamming HE with this ship. In this match, I'm divisioned up with Steelreserv from the Steelcast 27. And guess what tier we're in? Tier 4, buddies.
You killed the destroyers. I'm gonna get the juicy bits on the back.
I'm gonna get the juicy bits and kill the destroyers. Plus, I'll probably kill the cruisers too. You just watch and record it.
All right.
And then compliment.
Every time you get a kill, I'm gonna take a drink. Not gonna really do much because I'm gonna probably take a drink anyway. But
This thing does have a lot of hit points, I think. No? Actually, it has less than a Phoenix.
I hated it.
Hated it!
Until you shoot your guns. Well.
Okay, so what I'm doing is I'm heading down south here, Tom, and then I'm gonna cut left. Okay? Now, I would let you go ahead of me, but you're probably slower than me, because that thing is a slug.
This thing can rock it out, man. Get me into the juicy bits.
Alright, I'm turning out, so now you have some free rangée.
Thanks. Don't do it on my account.
Do you like being free rangée?
You like having a... Actually, our Wyoming is actually
I have sonar on
pushing
this
up
thing, dude.
quite a bit.
St. Lucy's, I gotta keep my range on this guy.
Like 7 click torps? What? What?
Fire already? So what I do want to point out again is that, remember, I'm doing an HE test with this, so I'm going to be spamming HE throughout this video just to see the damage it does and the amount of fires I get. There are going to be times in this video where AP would have been better, but I stick to HE. And for this match, honestly, it wasn't too bad of a test. I mean, the HE did pretty good. The first battleship I see, I get some pretty good fire started on it, but then afterwards as the match goes on, the HE just really doesn't do it for me. It's always situational, but this ship definitely prefers the AP.
Book of Talks.
Oh my god, he just got crushed.
That was me.
Really? What'd you hit him with?
Oops.
Damn, dude. Karlsruhe coming up the middle, dog. See him?
Yeah.
So here comes that battleship that I was talking about earlier. Now let's say, for example, I get 5 out of 6 hits with these guns, and these guns have a 10% fire chance. Now that does not mean that I have a 50% chance of getting a fire for every 5 hits. It's actually a little bit worse than that. There's some hidden stats within Wargaming's algorithm for if a fire started, and that's done on a ship-by-ship basis, and so it's actually not as good as the purported 10% chance to start a fire.
Karlsruhe down.
So as you all can see, the damage from the HE alone is really not there. The only thing that you can hope for with an HE spin is going to come from the fires. So the battleship was heading directly at me at the time, and he was 8 kilometers away, and the range on the torps is 6 kilometers. So in an optimal situation, I don't even know if I had range on those torps. So looking back on it, probably wasn't a good torp drop, but you know, I was in the middle of a reload, so it didn't really matter all that much. I didn't lose time or anything. Now, while all these tests have been going on with the HE, my buddy Steelreserv has been tearing it up with his destroyer, getting devastating strike after devastating strike. It's pretty crazy. You're gonna see, I think yep, there's another kill right there. 3 straight devastating strikes on the chat log. That's awesome. I think he finishes first in this match for damage, or for experience. So kudos to Mr. Steelreserv. Holy crap, you got 3 devastating strikes? That's amazing. Now this next part of the video is a demonstration of this cruiser's lack of speed. I need to redeploy my ship to the southern part of this map, and I'm heading in a straight line trying to get there, and this thing is just so slow compared to the Phoenix. The Phoenix does 35 knots, and this thing was in the 27 knot category, so that's another non-taste. So as I'm trying to close range on this battleship here, I kind of overled the shots there a little bit. If I looked at his smokestack, he's only going at like a quarter speed, maybe half speed. So I should have seen that and known that he doesn't require all that much lead. I think I do 1 salvo worth of misses, and then I realize it, cut it back a little bit. Also right here, I think this guy is trying to bait me. He did 1 shot right there from 1 turret, trying to make it seem like, okay, now I can go broadside because he's already fired. I think he's still loaded with everything else, but I'm continuing to head directly at him because I do not want to give him an opportunity to shoot my side.
No, I just got smoked.
So with that AP that went out? Oh, wait, walk and talk, so okay. And this thing could not catch ship on fire. And then everybody else's, like, torps come in. So what I'm trying to do here is I've got a fire on the bow of his ship. Now I have a fire on the superstructure. I'm going to try to get a fire on the stern and on the back portion of the superstructure. So there's the 3rd fire. This guy is just cooking out right now. And there's the 4th fire. So this guy is lit up at every, well, he was lit up at every single possible position of his ship. Oh, and there is one thing that I forgot to put into the review, and that's the AA power. And guess where this ship ranks with AA? You got it, dead last. I think that the Phoenix, which doesn't have a real high amount of AA, has 4 times the amount of AA of this ship. So if you're in a tier 4, or especially if you're in a tier 5 or a tier 6 match, you are not going to shoot down aircraft with this ship. I think the purpose for this ship is to eat up people's free experience so they can get past it and get to the fun Konisberg. I'd be very interested to know, and please drop me a line if you all enjoyed this ship. As you all heard from Steel Reserve, he didn't like this ship. I personally did not like this ship, but let me know if you all enjoyed it. Okay, so right here I'm taking hits from the Yubari, and this is where I wanted to use AP the most. I have a cruiser giving broadside to me, and yet I'm still shooting HE. This one hurt shooting HE right here, I'll be honest, but as you all can see, the damage coming from the HE itself is doing basically nothing. This is like destroyer damage when HE hits a cruiser. It's pretty pathetic. If I was shooting AP rounds, this ship would have been in a lot worse shape.
Shooting HE or HE or AP?
HE. So as you can tell by Still Reserve's question, he's wondering why I'm shooting HE. He doesn't know that I'm doing this test. Actually, no, I'm gonna sit him up.
We'll get him.
Turn right, turn right, turn right, turn right, turn right. Oh.
That was razor sharp. Yuborg's got twerps, does he?
I guess so.
Yeah, he does.
6 kilometer. Reminds me.
Better than the other Japanese twerp I've ever seen.
Okay, so I decided to go against my HE test and I wanted to load AP. For some reason, it goes back to HE after I launch these torps, and you'll hear me baby out a little bit, but then I start making fun of myself, so it's okay.
You got AP.
Why did it switch? I had AP loaded. I had AP loaded. Whee! 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 Oh! Sour grapes!
What sour grapes? You got Kraken unleashed. Lord Go-Go Gomes. Can I have the last kill? Yeah.
So the HE test worked out better than I thought it would, but AP is definitely still the ammo of choice for this ship. Coming into this ship review, I knew that it was really bad, but then when I went over all the other stats that I wasn't quite sure about, it kind of reaffirmed the fact that this ship is a junker. In my opinion, the Kuma and the Phoenix are light years ahead of this ship. The best thing to do is just save your free experience, go through all the modules, play it a little bit until you can't take it anymore, and then free experience the rest. That's what I did. Couldn't stay in this thing anymore, just had enough. Yeah, you can have a good match in this ship, but chances are if you were in the Kuma or the Phoenix, you would have had a better match. That's just my opinion, my take on it, but that's how I feel. I hope that you all enjoyed the video. If you did like the video, please click the like button, and if you're interested in receiving updates as new videos are posted to the channel, please feel free to subscribe. I'm generally divisioned up with Steel Reserve. Steel Reserve has his own YouTube channel with a very unique series that I enjoy titled History in Combat. I definitely recommend stopping by his channel and checking those videos out. And as always, thanks for watching the test.